vodka or something. Journal?
Oh, Granny remembers when she bought it when a kid. She never touched it.
What's your piece? Asshole Robert Frost. How am I supposed to know what this means?
I even can't.
Stopping by woods on a snow. Oh my god, I'm so glad I'm not in high school anymore.
You read this?
Sure.
What does it mean? Now it's turning a close read by tomorrow.
What does it mean?
The woods are lovely, dark, and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep.
I didn't memorize that.
Where is he?
He's in a field, on a horse.
He's not on a horse. The horse has bells.
So?
And a horse has bells.
I don't know. Just give me the fucking answer so I can write this.
A horse that's pulling a sled.
So this is a Thanksgiving time. Like over the river and through the woods to Grandma's house we go.
No, it's not Thanksgiving. What's covering the field?
Snow?
Yay! And what does snow symbolize?
Christmas?
Low, cold, endless white, endless nothing.
I don't know.
Death.
I thought Black was dead.
He has miles to go before he sleeps.
So he must be far away from his house.
The sleep of death.
You're so
Big
sick.
sleep. He's talking about his own death, which is yet to come, will come.
That's fucked up.
Gotta go.
I thought Black was dead. What are you going to do? Make your mozzarella. No.
I didn't want him to service, Tony. No remembrance at all. I'll see you there.
What?
Bye.
Oh, I'm sorry. We all know what you love. I got a major night. Very well. Bring it on. Sorry. Bring it on. Shuffle.
What next, huh?
I'll start drinking.
I want the fuck, goddamn fucking thing.
She was so awful. What do I tell my kids when they're on animals?
Take it easy, yo. goes, you gotta work on Columbus Day weekend.
Ace Garage.
You not coming to your mother's fucking funeral?
May I speak?
You got your shit to stop.
May I speak?
Go to fuck ahead.
You may recall, Tony, that I have very good and valid reasons to set myself to the state of
Gee, that case is colder than you did. It do you good to show up here at this point. Nothing to hide.
I don't do well with heroes, Tony.
Who does? You just don't want to get your ass out of whatever chair it's in.
I'm gonna hide the fuck up.
She didn't even want to funeral, Jess. Did you come to see your family during this stressful time? She was your mother.
You can just get on the plane before us working folk.
Well, listen to this. What do you got to you? You know they got special rates for family death.
Yeah, have a full fare coach, which at this late age comes to $1,100.
Fully research and everything, huh? All right, fuck it. I'll pay.
Can I bring my fiance?
Fuck that. One seat, coach. And if you don't show up, let me tell you right now, don't come breezing in here when it comes time to cover up your statement. I know you think one stuff only buried in the house.
What are you telling people about the other thing?
Richie, violation to the witness protection law. Right now? Amara. Shop with those women that died. Him all paid. Bring him down from Montreal.
Hal is on the pavement, Tony. He's a street person.
Sorry, I didn't know.
Hey, you're not the only one with a problem.
Get it tomorrow.
In the house.
Yeah.
Hey, you go down wishing stuff again. I wish you were the wishing well. That I can tie a bucket to your singing. Yes, I get it.
Oh, it's too late. I can make it happen.
Listen, Ma, I came over to give you something. Here, take this. When you need me more, just say so. I'll make it plenty. We don't want your money. I'm taking care of Ma. 2 bits a week. I don't go to nightclubs and she don't drink champagne. Money don't mean nothing to me. No, I guess not. No heart and no brains. It's all you've got. You'll need it.
Tell me.
Oh, shit.
Sorry to hear. What do you do? You suffer. Well, Ralphie, I need to talk to you. And, Albert, you do. You know, I'm sure you're down. Come on. Who gave the order to torch one of Albert's trucks? One of the trucks. Be quiet, Albert.
Talk to him. Visit him 2 of my dumpsters.
What's the matter with you? Okay. What a newspaper every fucking week with this shit.
Mike Crew.
is in line for the Raritan Township contract. Okay? This guy over there keeps whispering out.
You what? What did you say? Who's crew?
You're the boss. You get to put in anybody you want over the crew.
You're a captain, Ralphie. When I say you're a captain.
And I'm going to turn up my hearing aid so I don't miss it.
You with me? What a lie of dead?
Raritan Township recycling manager over there, Joe Zachary. He knows who's in line for that contract. But he keeps playing footsie with Albert. Next minute, he's threatening to go to the EPA and bust us all.
You said that? I fix it. No. Fine. How could we possibly get busted? Don't worry about it. The boys from behind the stage, they never check it in.
Bravo, John, please, accept my condolences. I'll use all my powers, all my skills. Don't go crazy. You know, and we're not envisioning any visitation hours from us.
Well, you see, she didn't want any service of any kind.
I find it hard to accept.
Is she still down at the hospital wall?
We brought Mom here this morning. She's downstairs.
There's going to be a priest or something, right?
Well, yeah, sure. A priest, I guess. But, what would that be?
You're not having a funeral, man? And I'm not trying to sell you.
Well, she was Catholic, but not religious.
I thought maybe we'd have a shindig at the house, you know. After, so the grandkids could, you know. Oh, no.
I mean, I do know what Mom's wishes were, but not to have a wake or a funeral. It makes us look like we're unloving children, not to mention stupid.
Who gives a shit what it looks like? The woman expressed her wishes.
I wish I were my mother.
Things I could say right now that I'm not going to say. What, you think we should do something now?
When she was young, she used to picture her funeral.
All right, fine, you want to do something? Let's just do it. Let's just stop talking about it. Because really, you arrange everything. The wake, the funeral, you send me the bill.
I want you to know, Tony, that this all won't fall on you. I'll do a painting for the overleaf for the program at the service. From the Mexican Day of the Dead. Oh, one thing that I'd like to suggest very strongly is at the house, everyone gathers and each one can voice a remembrance or a feeling about Mom.
Oh, I don't want any of that California bullshit. They have a drink, they can eat some gorgonzola, they want to yak about one, that's their business. No, I'm sorry. My condolences. None. I think that's good. It's a relief. Everybody else all bullshit. Here's the thing. I'm glad she's dead. Not just glad, I wish she'd died. Wish. But this court case comes up. She might have testified against me, so when I heard she was dead, relief flooded into my veins.
How do you feel about the fact that your own mother would have testified against you?
Oh, come on. Will you listen to yourself? Is that right? Wishing her dead? That being a good son?
A good son?
Yeah, a good son. I mean, bad sons.
Bad sons what?
They should fucking die.
That's a fucking miserable, disgusting thing to be, a bad son. And your kid up above. You better be a good son, right? You know, you're right. Why the fuck should I be a good son to that fucking demented old bat, that fucking selfish, miserable cunt? She ruined my father's life. Yeah.
But he wasn't her son. What did she do to you?
That's a matter of public record. We both know.
You don't like to say it, do you?
Who knows if she even knew what she was doing?
You're letting her off.
Uncle denied that she took part.
Your uncle loves you.
I never said he did.
Grown children often secretly wish for an aged parent to die, and it's not necessary for the parent to be a witness for the prosecution. It's a taboo thought, but common, particularly if the parent has lost all capacity for joy and feeling.
So we're probably done here, right? She's dead. What's happening?
Tony Soprano's mother's wake is tonight. Want me to wear a wire?
Why not? You need batteries? Let's go right over here to Office Depot.
I'm downstairs.
Hey, Mama wanted to put his casket. Don't you agree?
Definitely.
You know, they usually put a picture in the casket. He's smiling.
Oh,
Maybe it was us who turned it against Albus.
Oh, get the fuck out!
Right.
well, maybe you're right. My shrink says that all women are not cut out to be mothers.
Is that a slam at me?
No. Well, my father was in a freaking Cirque du Soleil. Maybe I would have turned out like her. How?
Fucking weird.
What?
None of my childhood schoolwork or artwork or anything for that matter is here anymore, nor Barb.
Look at it.
Apple Soprano. 7th grade, Mr. Martino. I had to. Why Fear Strikes Out by Jim Purcell is a... Let's take a look. The only saved insurance.
Talk about his father's opinion certificate. Is your baby shoe.
Yeah, that's it. Nothing of mine. And everybody agreed that I had extraordinary visualization skills. Is pencil doing anything, Frank?
Sorry. Fucking pain a fucking ass.
We're not. Huh? It's tantrums.
This shit ain't Mr. Jets' first home game.
They say when you make it ceremony might happen now with this delay.
Stop asking fucking questions, even if I knew I couldn't tell you.
Every little bit helps. Anything to get through these events.
Hello. I'm serious. She's my sister. That's very old.
Thanks. Thanks for coming. Tony, I express my condolences. Thank you. I met your mom just I'm proud of you. Oh, hey.
Well, I should have talked about this day.
You know, State Assemblyman Gentleman, right? From the 8th Ward. You know this guy?
Yes.
Look, you all right? So that truck called Bruno beat the people. I'm kidding you, you old fuck. What's the matter with you? Uncle said you wanted to see me.
What do you want?
I'm hoping that we can use this sad occasion to put bitterness and sore-headed feelings aside. Here they are.
Thank you.
How's that surfboard I gave you?
Ow.
Probably sit together. Got work to do.
What does he want?
He wants to bump up the captain. The kid's been a top fucking earner ever since that rat bastard went in the program. You can't deny it. Rabbi's whipped Richard's crew into shape.
But 3 months ago by you, the rat bastard was the second fucking coming. Why do you do this to me?
Because I'm the boss of this thing. You forget.
I forget nothing. Don't make me say things to you we'll both regret.
Go ahead. I'm fucking fed up.
Hey, I'm on the street. That's the arrangement. Stay home, clip your coupons, be a happy man.
Things are good, I grant you that. But this economy is so robust, you get credit for shit you have nothing to do. Fucking chinks and housewives are betting football.
You better be finished.
Joe Zachary?
Yeah?
Oh boy! No fire! Tony doesn't want any fire.
What do you think? Well, Doctor, Tom's mother, brother,
Lord bless her and keep her. The Lord make his face to shine upon her and be gracious to her. The Lord lift up his countenance upon her and give her peace.
amen. Did you talk to him?
She was sure you said something to him. You won't discuss it in something.
Get him and send you on the date list.
I want to thank you for all you've done for her.
She was much work, but in the end, she defeated me.
Anyway, we're not going to be needing your services anymore, obviously. I'll be moving into the house. So if you could just get your stuff out of there by this weekend, I think that would be good.
I stayed there only during the week with my fiance and his children. Tony says I can continue situation to build a fine house.
See, Tony should have consulted me first. I'm going to be living in Benedict while we deal with the estate. Speaking of which, my mom had kind of extensive record collection. Caruso, Robert Merrill, shitload of Broadway shows. Many of them were in mint condition. You know where they are?
It's Jesus thing. What? She know I like American shirts, so she gives to me. I didn't ask her.
But those are my mother's records. I feel very close to them.
I don't want to make trouble with Miss Janice. I feel I have to respect her wishes.
Oh, come on. This is just about you bogarting those discs for your ass. They're worth a fortune to the right collector.
I will not answer such.
I want the entire discography back at the house by this weekend.
This is us. How are you?
Sit down. That's your mother. You call her every day.
Mom passed away.
Really? When?
About 6 months ago.
Please, give her my regards. Is she still on that crazy diet?
I brought you something. From my restaurant. I don't know if you remember Vesuvio. This is us. Oh, what's the matter?
After what my son did to you. Oh, how can I look you in the face?
What did he do now?
You don't blame him for setting the fire?
Marty, what are you doing? Come on, we have people arriving. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Look at that. He's already becoming a robot.
I'm so sorry about your grandma.
But she didn't say so.
Well, I wish it's his baby.
Comes to that point in the service where the rabbi is supposed to extol the virtues of the deceased. The rabbi says, "Alas, I did not know this man. I'm new here. You all know him. You say something more about him." Dead silence. Goes on for about a minute, 2 minutes. Finally, voice from the back. His brother was first.
I'm fucking out with him for long, and I think he thinks I smell like that.
He's a survivor.
Somebody should find a way, stick a pistol in the face, and say, you're not gonna survive this unless you give me 25% of that fucking $1 million.
That's not fair.
And we can find out where they live.
See how would you survive this? It's in there.
Everyone, please, may I have your attention? At this time, we would like to ask you all to join us in the great form a circle, sit anywhere on the floor, whatever, get comfortable, so that we can all be together and share a remembrance or a feeling of womanhood. Please, everyone join us. Holy Ghost Gary, join us, please.
What the fuck did I say?
Wow, invite them all back. Very good. We can all take a break from eating for 5 minutes. It won't fill up. Most of you will probably remember that this was your favorite song. I thought it might help us get home. Herman? Raptor? You two went back almost to the pyramid.
Yes. What struck me most was children's words. Between brain and mouth, there was only one.
Anthony Jr.
I don't know what to say. Come on. Janice. Come on.
If anybody dies, or was it a hospital? I'm sure I can let me know. Thank you. Okay. It's good for the goose. Well, most of you will probably remember that I have an extraordinary visual gift. When I was a child, my mother didn't let me rest on those laurels. She didn't flatter me. She believed that wildflowers blossom best among the rocks.
She was tired. And she's the reason I make videos today. Maybe you'd like to tell them how they ignore your child's schoolwork and varsity letters and none of mine are marvelous.
You just did. Wrap it up, Janice.
I hear she didn't suffer. For that, we can be grateful.
They say there's no two people on earth exactly the same. No two faces, no two sets of fingerprints. But do they know that for sure? Because they would have to get everybody together in one huge space. Obviously, that's not possible. But not only that, they have to get all of it, everyone, not just one side. So they got no food. They got nothing.
Hey. So tell him she's dead. What? I guess our little secret. It's nice with her. Hey, pick that up. What am I doing out here? Everybody's in there telling stories of her. I gotta. Artie, don't talk about that.
This is a crown of their past. Who's to say that this is a crown just like all women? Maybe not with the same fears, paranoia. Same. What I'm saying is,
This is such a crock of shit. I'm sitting here thinking I should protect my children from the truth without thinking about one. And the other, I'm saying to myself, what kind of example am I setting? Evading, smiling, passing out cheese puffs over a woman that we all know is terribly dysfunctional, who spread no cheese at all. This is my house.
I'm late for the talk, goddammit. Get down! I'll speak if I want. Goddammit, who are you? Minister of Propaganda. We suffered for years under the yoke of that woman. Years! She estranged us from our own doing. Ruined, I don't know how many goddamn Christmases. I don't want to even begin to count. Oh, don't hand me that. Bullshit! You wanted it to be done.
From beyond the grave. This is a woman who didn't want a funeral. You all, her children, you ignored her wishes. Only after she's dead, my dear. She didn't want a funeral. She didn't want a remembrance of any kind. Why? She didn't think anybody would come. She wouldn't write down her memories for her grandchildren because she figured nobody loved her enough to read them.
She knew there was a problem.
There's desserts in the dining room. If anybody wants some.
Yes, and they're all from Vesuvio and pastry chef.
Once upon a time, a trillion ago, once upon a time, a trillion years ago, I was in the sight, you looking alone, you and me, you found me, I guess it was you said that without me, when maybe I'm gone, when you get me, and I realize that it's on me. It's not a time. Once upon a time, a few mistakes ago, I was in your face. You got me alone. You found me. You found me. You found me. That really enter. I guess I like that. I really feel alive. Really get back. You found me. You found me. You found me. When you come gone, when you text to me, and I realize the blame is on me. If I knew you were trouble when you walked in, the blame on me now. I will leave you places I've never been. Still got me now, I knew you were trouble when you walked in. The shame on me that I'm moving to places I've never been. Now I'm going on the cold hard ground. Oh, trouble. Trouble. Emojis, please be surprised. Say you know, these are reason why you drown me.
This World Trade Center deal was super sketchy. You see, just 2 months before 9/11, the World Trade Center was taken private by a man named Larry Silverstein, who ate breakfast on the 91st floor of the North Tower every morning, except the day of the tragedy, citing an emergency hospital appointment. What's more fascinating is that he also took out an insurance plan on the entire building that just so happened to cover terrorism. When the dust settled, Larry was awarded a total of $4.5 billion. And even though it can't be proven that this could have been the largest insurance fraud in history, everyone's saying that this World Trade Center deal was super sketchy.
Wonder if it's weird. I'm not sure about maybe they'll see. Maybe they don't. Cause all I'll ever be is honesty. Now I see. When you gone, when you left me, and I realize the blame is on me. And I really don't. This is gonna see. And you're nothing without. It's all I'll ever be. And I see. And we are gone. And we made you. And then we the joke is on me. Yeah, you were trouble when you walked in. The game on me, not on routines, you places I've never been. Now you put me down, I knew you were trouble when you walked in. The game on me, not on routines, you places I've never been. Nobody on the floor, walk down. Trouble. Trouble. I am sleeping in.
I think this could be it.
And it happened at me. And, or anyone, or anything. Yeah. I knew you were trouble when you walked in. To say I knew you places I've never been.
So now can we get out of here? You know? Get a big loft,
The
maybe?
Simpsons don't predict the future. Even notice they control it.
The wife of a maid guy doesn't host this.
I'm so proud of you. I love you.
I'm in trouble when you walk in. So shame on me now. I'll lead you to places I've never been. Trouble. Trouble is atmosphere. Come creeping in. And never let me, or her, or anyone, or anything. Yeah, I knew you were trouble. I knew you were trouble when you walked in. The same on me, not two faces I've never been. Lying on the floor, hard down. Trouble. You were trouble when you walked in.
Look at his family. Let's get now.
Ground zero.
His family comes from
Choices where a fresh guy got AIDS. Peter, this is the site of the 9/11 terrorist.
Yes.
So sit down. Shane did this? No. You're right, the army?
Think of on.
Guys, what do with this?
Take
One
care.
Saudi Arabians, Lebanese Egyptians, it's financed by a Saudi Arabian guy living in Afghanistan and sheltered by Pakistanis. So you're saying we need to invade
He's
Iran?
like your father.
Ground?
It doesn't matter if it's with somebody here or on the outside. Bring it to him. He'll sell it. Stay defeated. All right. Give me a hand. Defeated. All right. Give me a hand. St. Peter, my family's safe. soul brought in hell if you betray your friends and family. Rub your hands together like this. Repeat after me. May I burn in hell.
May I burn in hell.
Betray my friends.
Betray my friends.
Conditions. My fucking heart's still pounding.
You're doing really good this year with the sports.
Yeah, it's been good.
I'm going to give it to you, my boy. It's yours.
I was wondering what it was going to be.
You're a make guy. It's your time to make some real money, and I get to relax. Your only problem in life now is you give me 10 points and you take every settle up. Other than that, you got the problem. My only problem in life, I got to kick my points to that man over there. And on it goes to stay up on us. When you think of all the headaches most human beings have in life, odds are all boiled down to only one. Not a bad deal, huh? You got it. Only thing. There's a 6G minimum every week.
I remember when we broke up the first time. Steady days we never know. I got steady days of it in a while. Wasn't steady
I love you, Paul.
space.
We're in it together now.
I love you too.
Anything on the riverfront Esplanade project in Newark?
My guy in the state assembly, he says the matching funds are this close. The development agency, they added plans for a City of Newark Museum of Science and Trucking.
Cement or everything?
I remember when we broke up the first time. Steady days we never know. Because I steady days of it in a while.
Lightning on my mother. Oh, tell me what are you gonna do? You pick up the pieces and you go on.
I meant the spells.
They're not spells. How do you know about that? The fuck over there in New York?
I remember when we broke up the first time. Steady days we never know. Because I steady days of it in a while. When you said you needed space.
Sure help.
Okay, man,
Psychiatrist help.
What do you know about that?
I get sorry, Shmuel. You got caught with that thing with your wife. Very happy.
Remember the privacy.
You called me out again last night. This time I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I'll never, ever, ever getting back together. We are never, ever, ever getting back together. You go talk to your friends, talk to my friends, talk to me. But we are never, ever, ever getting back together. When you get Jamaican rice on the night, when you get Jamaican rice, and you when you get your mind, what's up? You call me up again tonight, this time I'm telling you,
When are you going back to Seattle, Janice?
It depends on how long it takes to set up on the state.
Stay. Falling down houses all already on the road.
Sad, isn't it?
Janice, you know how much we love you. You know how much we love having you around. But there's a whole big house over there. And I know you want maximum value. Little baby. Stay there.
I've been thinking the same way. I just don't want to.
Yeah, well, I talked to her. She's moving out tomorrow.
look at this one, don't you? Don't you tell everybody a story? Well, they had a date, and it was like, hey, lady, want to see my kids? And they were like, yeah, dude. And he was like, oh, man, that's so sick. Oh my god.
Jesus Christ. Hey, come around. How you doing? Much wonderful white space, gentlemen. Soft drinks and choice. Take me to these apologies, zero shoes. Wearing a stripe now. Oh, the shoes gonna be up. Chris, I promise. You know it. Thank you, Rabbi. Congratulations. What'd you get out, Benny? He ain't tossed it. With his band. So Jackie, how's it? Fuck that. I'm dropping out. Whoa. We're just talking about our former alma mater. Got the coffee house. It's a pure cash operation. The beauty part is, who's gonna stop it? Kids? Campus security? What are you telling about that? That's all.
I'm never, ever, ever getting back together. We are never, ever, ever getting back together. You go talk to your friends, talk to my friends, talk with me.
Yo, still talking to you, Chris. Can't forget all mine.
I'm never, ever, ever getting back together. We are never, ever, ever getting back together. You go talk to your friends, talk to my friends, talk to me, talk to me. We are never, ever, ever getting back together. I used to think that we were forever, ever, and I used to say, never say never.
Psychotherapy and constantly,
Never, ever, like ever. We are never, ever, ever, ever getting back together. We are never, ever, ever getting back together. You go talk to your friends, talk to my friends, talk to me. We are never, ever, ever, ever getting back together. We
She went upstairs, started a friend conversation. I told her instead of fucking with me, can't get downstairs.
like gonna see my friends talk to me, talk to me. We are never, ever, ever, ever getting back together. I talk to your friends, talk to me, talk to me. We are never, ever, ever, ever getting back together. I used to think that we were forever, ever, and I used to say, never say never.
Sausages, wasn't
I
it?
love you, kind of like, we are never, never together, like ever. We are never, ever, ever getting back together. We are never, ever, ever. Getting back together. You go talk to your friends, talk to my friends, talk to me. But we are never, ever. Getting back together. We are together. You go talk to your friends, talk to my friends, talk to me. We are never, ever. Getting back together.
As long as it pays out. Spreads 11. Oregon's down by 12. You're on a 45. You're allowed to Why didn't somebody tell me? USC, that spread could open at 18. Fucking top 10 team.
So we should have laid off some of that shit for the devil.
Only did it all the time. You see him here? What's the matter with you people? You deaf? Answer the fucking Minor setback. Oh, yeah? Frost on the fucking warm up again. The football way. Not this basically.
Jackie, can you show yet?
I don't know.
Fuck. Promise somebody be.
What's the language you put on my kid? Probably keep it cool. Yo, what? He knows it. Jackie, what are you doing hanging out with that one to death? I promise his old man I try to keep him out of this shit. He's the heir apparent. Hey, watch out for Jackie, okay? You gotta turn that one link there. Put the sun back.
You will have me. Maybe we can see. I know. Everything that we could be, everything before, I really talks about. I really think everything that I feel to live without you. Tell me that because I don't want me. I can't even see. The reason for the teardrops on my guitar. The only thing that gives me wishing on a wishing star is a song and a cry. Never singing on the why I do. To us.
Come over there? Yeah, one minute. Roll. Yeah, I got it.
Where are you? I can't make it. Before eating, you promised. Fuck it.
Me. It is everything I can't see. Let it go perfectly. Better than the silver perfectly. She never got the time. I never ever got. But I never go live. And I'll be loving twice. He's the reason for the teardrops on my guitar. The only thing I just be wishing on a wishing star is the song and the clock I've been singing on the why I do. when I was alive. I wouldn't take it down, baby, get some sleep at night. Here's a reason for the teardrops on my guitar. The only purpose for the devil waiting, breaking my heart is the song in the dark. I've been singing all I do. And that is all I need.
Hi, boss. Anywhere for drive today? And how's it going with the test? Whatever. Every 5 minutes, then I'm a long thing. She's holding for that. But I talk about birds, she barely made up that George Washington Bridge. Creating a nicer home life. They don't want to go out in the world. But hey, they're closer to us than we were with our parents. That's such a bad thing. Here, Mona. Out of respect to my father.
He's the reason for the teardrops on my guitar. The only thing I'm missing, wishing for. He's a song in the car. I've been singing, don't know why I do. Remember not to lie. I'm hoping picture and baby get some sleep tonight. She's the reason for the teardrops on my guitar. The only kind of devil made you break my heart. He's the sun and the cloud. I've been singing, don't know why I do. There's heart and black, but there's never enough. Is all that I need from two words at me. They kiss like a bee, won't see.
My father's brother you talking about. Hey, I'm a member of your family. You think I'm the only one that knows about me?
Yo, dog.
You understand me, man? Yes, for all of us. Jesus Christ. Your dad and me, you know how close we were? He never wanted this for you. He wanted you to get that. Fucking break. Let me tell you something. Besides the money, which is a shitload, that was a very powerful position. You know how hard you have to work to get your MD? How many years it takes? I was even thinking maybe osteopathy. But I don't think I have the grades for that either. You're not gonna drop out of Rutgers, are you? No. But those fucking pre-med courses almost killed me. I only did it because my dad was sick. You should know. He never wanted this life for you. But I'll tell you something. I don't want it for my son either.
Go, man! Run! Let's go! I want to see it! Get off the floor! Get off the floor!
Fourth and 3, and they should go going for it. That offensive line. Where's my kid still sitting on the bench? Still sitting on the bench.
What's good with it? Freshman rules. They all get to play one quarter.
Patillo! Get Rufusano!
Hey, put you in play already. Put my kid in. It's the rules.
Are you fucking crazy, Rap? Are you fucking crazy? What? What did you say? No, come here and say that to me.
Romano, every contest. Look, Anthony's going in.
Oh, hey, Anthony!
My son. That goes to the ball, baby. I can't be taught. The defensive line, you gotta have football. Remember staying after
Said the way my blue eyes shine. With those Georgia stars, it's a shame that my sweat's Cheddar boy, very struck. They got that other fever getting started. Like a word I guess you teaching the ground. I hope you think my favorite song. Nobody is to all my wrong. When you think happiness, I hope you think that little white dress. Maybe jeans. You think Tim McGraw. I hope you think of me. Then they found it right back.
Don't need women. Women need men.
So,
Men can survive without women.
how was everybody's steak today?
Tomorrow, men would be fine outside of reproduction. If tomorrow they made artificial wombs, what would they need a woman for? Who's a better companion?
So,
Men or women?
Natalie
So men
asked me
built the
today where
world.
you might want to go to college.
West Point. West Point? Yeah, that's what you said. No, I didn't. Yeah, you did. You said right there. You said either Harvard or West Point.
No way I'd ever have said that. I could never get it. No.
You got a take. I'm glad you should. Yeah.
Mom there?
Hey, how are you?
Is Mom there?
Yeah, she's here. How's school?
Is Mom there?
I hope you think my favorite song. One glass to all my when you think happiness, I hope you think that little white dress. And then my hair and I know everybody when you think Tim McGraw. I hope you think of me.
Janice, I I know you like my will, because she's my intense. The feeling in me is she's not here to ask.
I know. I'm sorry. Just, this is an emotional issue for me. I thought that if we had the chance to talk one-on-one, and I could make you understand how much those records mean to me. Just promise me.
The iPhone is not what it looks like. This simple phone holds a lot of secrets, as there's a theory that the iPhone is a subtle symbol that activates. Some people say that the iPhone is actually hinting at the
I was making good jack at that betting parlor. I was in a fucking zone. Now everything turns to shit.
As if it's in the house, flapping around. And that's not
The name Siri
Will your mother loan me the money?
gives the word iris, but that's not even the craziest part. If you look at the phone's back,
Why don't you get rid of that stupid fucking razor? We'll ship it to you before if you put it on before it.
Apple with just one vitamin.
I'm sorry.
Yes, you're right. It's the tool Satan used to tempt humans into the worst sin of the world, and now you know that.
Eugene, when you think Tim McGraw, I hope you think of me. And I love you those times when I'm free. And the birds on your trumpet, and just me. When you think Tim McGraw, I hope you dig my favorite song. Things video. We hope you taste it back to their place. When you think happiness, I hope you think that little white dress. And I head on your chest. No, but Eugene, you think Tim McGraw. I hope you think of me.
Next call yet?
Hello, baby. How have you been?
What is she doing here?
She brings old Larry. Piece of shit made in Russia. I have lost it weight. He not wear it no more. All an hour, and that's the her.
getting married. Did you know?
You told me. Wish you all the best.
She put into my price 3 husbands.
I miss you so much.
Why don't we just stick to the subject? Your cousin's missing a leg.
$20,000. That's how much it costs. Like shit. Flex food, latest technology with vertical shock pilot, plus calfskin boot. Canis call.
You don't even want to talk to me anymore. I don't see why we can't be friends.
You know what? I don't even know what I'm doing here, except you worked it this way. We could have talked about this leg thing on the phone.
I'm sorry, Tony.
Not your fault. And look, I'm sorry about your leg. I'll reach Janice. Janice putting your food in there?
No, but I have orange juice. Plus, there are two killer genius, and your mother's sweet delivery still is coming every week.
Ну ладно, позвонила я тебе. Что ты мне расскажешь?
Southern California versus Notre Dame. We're in South Bend, Indiana today, where we have a perfect football afternoon.
Talk about good timing. I was just going to call you.
Oh, yeah? Someplace we could talk in private?
Nah, I'm kind of busy. I was going to call.
You busy? Something I can get you, Jimmy? Just take a minute. Anthony, I told you to wait in the car.
It's me, old man, Anthony.
So, what are you going to call me about?
I don't got it.
Beastly son of a bitch. You got payments you can't make? You come see me. Work out a plan.
I swear, I got a vendor owes me $300.
Shut the fuck up!
Your wife's weekly order's all ready. There's got to be $30 worth of meat there. Double food, chops, and a beautiful standing roast.
You gonna back talk me now?
Oh, wait, please, what are you going to do? Anthony, what I fucking tell you?
What, your father never cut off anybody's pinky?
It's traumatic for anyone to witness, much less an 11-year-old.
Actually, it was. It was a rush. You want to know the truth? You want me to tell?
Go ahead. There's Rabbi.
What you see today, very sad. You disobeyed your old man, and I ought to give you a belt. Let's say, a lot of boys your age would have run like a little girl. But you stayed. And nobody back in this century. That's why you what was I supposed to do? That's what I went. Talk before. You should have
Johnny, dinner's ready.
I just realized honest.
Beautiful cookie set.
You like it standard. Bones.
Hello, how are you, Rachel? What's new in your neck of the woods? Very nice. Did things settle down with your family? Hopefully that, just calm down. And hopefully time has allowed that situation to ease. How is the park? It's a really interesting place of the world. There are it's like a Mediterranean climate, but there are like three or four different areas right along the coast. So you've got the peninsula that can get cold and foggy. You've got inland that can get very hot. You, like all within, I don't know, probably like 10 miles of each other. Basically, like San Francisco County to Contra Costa County are pretty opposite when you're talking like Mount Diablo on the other side of the mountains, Walnut Creek, that area. It can get really hot there, but still be cold in San Francisco. I've always found that interesting. I mean, it can be. It's on the other side of the mountain, so um, it is. No, it's on the other. Yeah. I mean, when I went there, I took part there as well. It's like on the opposite side of the mountains of Berkeley. So I have a cousin who lives there, and I stayed with her and her husband. Yeah, and I found San Francisco to just be overall very cold and not what I thought it was California. I mean, it is obviously, but that's I've said it before, but that's why I moved to Southern California, primarily just based on weather. I wanted it to be warm all the time, and I found that sweatshirt weather and jeans kind of was more comfortable in Northern California. There were other advantages in Southern California too. There are disadvantages as well, but at least now I could take some of that coolness but at least now I could take some of that coolness we've had pretty hot summer thus far, and um, it's it's supposed to rain a little bit this week, which is pretty rare in the summer. So hopefully it'll take away some of that heat. Go ahead. Yeah, it rains literally like 2 weeks out of the entire year, and then every other day is absolutely sunny. Yeah, I would say so. Actually, I think it probably rains less here. I mean, I've lived in Las Vegas as well, and it could rain pretty hard in Las Vegas, particularly at strange times, like in the middle of the summer, just random like flash floods. Yeah, exactly. I got I got my gift from this cryptocurrency. They sent me some pajamas, so I have those. Yeah, the shirt and pants. It's just like their logo all over. So, it's the first thing that I've gotten from fans, I guess, and that's kind of neat. I sent them a picture and did a shout out for them, and um, I I do this thing because like I don't know, it's a very lonely life that I live. That's why I enjoy your company so much. But um, I mean, it's it, thank you. It's no, I think you're very intelligent. So if anything, you have me fooled. I um, but it's getting to a point where like I know I'll do it till the end of the year, and then I'll pivot. So I will get a job and go back to a normal life. Now I'm not saying I would still stream myself, but I would do things. I mean, I would be more active, and like at this point, um, it's very much like I'm on a raft in the middle of the ocean, like a deserted island. It's not. I mean, it's different, but I enjoy reading stories that are like that, where it's like I have, perhaps it's foolishness, perhaps it's overconfidence, but I have confidence from the people with whom I interact, particularly on Twitter, that they think this is a really good idea, that somebody needs to build the timeline of the world, and it's like a time capsule, and also to just be able to study human behavior. But it is something that is quite an it's like everything's the same every single day, and that's bothersome to me because I used to live such a refreshing, like really interesting life. I mean, my day was much different. I mean, I would wake up, I would go for a run, I'd go to shul or synagogue, I would go to work, I would then like after work go to classes, or play golf, or go out with friends. I would do all kinds of things. I lived a very fulfilling life, and so those are things that I've certainly sacrificed in order to do this. And um, it's really I've got like 4 months left or so um, to do this, to like basically go viral or however you want to take it. And it's not necessarily like something that I'm pretty confident it'll happen. I know that sounds foolish, but especially when I talk with people on Twitter, they're very bullish, as they say. They're very positive towards it, and it just takes one person to basically see what you're doing. Something that I do though is I enjoy music, and so there's a feature of Instagram that's called Reels, and what I do is I sing the catalogs of like really every major artist that there is. So I've been going through. I've done like Billy Joel and Elton John, and I've done well, no, I like sing. It's like it's like it plays the song and then you lip sync it at the same time. So it takes a video of you. And yeah, exactly. It was Instagram's answer to TikTok. So it is. So I have tons of these throughout the summer, and like I'll actually watch. ones, and I'll really enjoy it. Even though I only took them like, I don't know, 3 months ago or 2 months ago. It's like, oh yeah, I remember when I did that. It brings back good memories. I mean, it's like I get some joy out of it. And so, as of recently, this morning I did the Carpenters, and this evening I've been doing Taylor Swift, and it's challenging. It's challenging to know the lyrics because they don't put the lyrics on the screen for you, so you have to have them basically memorized. They provide the song, so all you have to do is search the artist or the song, and then um, it's a limited amount of time. So you can do the whole song. Uh, you can do like 15 seconds, 30 seconds, uh, or like 45 seconds, 60 seconds, 75 seconds, or 90 seconds. And the way that these apps work, I mean, I'm not a foolish person. I don't consider myself a foolish person, particularly when it comes to user interface or like the way that a human uses a device. I'm almost an expert in it in a lot of ways, just simply from my technological background and having launched apps on the App Store and Google Play. But you wouldn't know it that, like, if you first use the app, the default amount of time that it gives you on Android is 15 seconds, and on iOS or Apple is 30 seconds. So you wouldn't know that you can do them longer. So when I first started doing this little compilation project, I would have to do an entire song. I'd have to do it like, like every 30 seconds, and like so I would have to do like maybe 6 clips for a 3-minute song, not knowing that it can go up to 90 seconds, and so you can almost sing about half the song. So I have just like every single artist that you can think of, their song, at least one major song of theirs, but usually I try to do their whole catalog. So for some it's like 10, even 20 songs, and then I've done like opera. I've done um, a lot of jazz. Like, how do you sing jazz? I don't. I'll just. Well, I should say, I have like if it has words, I sing the words if it's jazz. But a lot of jazz is instrumental. So for a lot of that, I would just have the video of myself listening to it and just kind of where I am in the world. And I a lot of times do when I stream, like I'll get random people. I'll get all kinds of people, really nice people, really disrespectful people. I mean, it just runs a gamut of where they do. A lot of times people, you're absolutely right. A lot of times people ask me, "Are you on a spaceship?" Because it kind of looks futuristic. And no, I'm not in a spaceship, but it does feel like that. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Martian. We talked about this a little bit with Matt Damon, and it's basically him being on Mars for like uh, I think it's like 3 years or something like that without any human encounters. It's very much like the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks, where you're just like on a desert island. A lot of times, I can empathize with those people um, in some ways. Extroverts. Yeah, exactly. You can't observe them. Exactly. I ran into an issue this morning, and it was very disconcerting to me about the future of like Big Brother and stuff. So I was just listen. I was on Twitter, and I was just listening to someone had made a clip of something that Joe Rogan had said on a podcast like August 6th, so quite recently, and it was about people dropping dead just randomly. There's like a documentary about it, and he basically says like, yeah, isn't it something that people are just dropping dead all of a sudden, like in huge numbers, athletes and things, and people aren't necessarily talking about it. And like insinuating perhaps that it might have to do with vaccines or the health industry or something like that. Okay, so this clip was like 30 seconds long at most, maybe 15 seconds long, and I stopped my streams because um, if you let them go, I have to stop them at 12 hours for them to be publicly viewable. If not, if it goes longer than that, they're not publicly viewable. So I stopped my stream at like around that time, and I noticed I got like a warning from YouTube. And I'm like, what is this warning? Now I get warnings all the time from YouTube for like copyrighted material, and that's like no big deal to me. But I've gotten them for spam because I'll put out so many videos over the course of like a day or something. They'll think it's spam. All right, but this was the first time I had ever gotten medical misinformation. And I was like, what is this? And apparently like I didn't even talk in the video, so it wasn't like something that I had said. It was something that I had viewed, and so I was very confused by it. Like, how would they know? Like, I was going through my mind, like, what is it that I have even watched? And I listen to things all the time that are um, like people who are like drug users or like I don't know, like really hard partiers. Like, what is this? Why am I getting this flag? So I went and rethought, like, what is it that I watched that was so controversial? Well, it went back in my head that it was this Joe Rogan clip, and I got on two of my streams. I got this warning. Now, what does this warning mean? It's kind of a stupid system that YouTube has. Basically, you get a warning, and if you and that warning never goes away. So then what happens is then you can get one, two, or three strikes after that, or they could just terminate your account altogether. But basically, if you get one strike, you're like banned from streaming for a week. Two strikes, it's like a month, and three strikes, you're done. Okay, so I was just thinking to myself, like, how did they know that I like like then I know they have an algorithm and things that can like that are listening to me all the time and transcribing what I'm saying, but it's like I didn't even say this. So this is what I surmise, and this is most likely what happened. So Joe Rogan, somebody uploaded that Joe Rogan clip to YouTube, like maybe yesterday or something like that, and YouTube flagged that and basically won't allow that type of content on YouTube. Well, so they did that on someone else's account. But basically, YouTube knows if anyone else tries to upload this kind of a clip, we're going to flag them as well. And while I didn't upload the clip, I just listened to it live. It knows everything, all the words that are being said, and that's why it flagged me. That's the best I could sort of. I was on a different phone, so it heard what was being said and knew the words that Joe Rogan was saying and flagged me for that. So no, they're logged into different accounts actually. So all six of them basically have different accounts. But basically, okay. So what the algorithm does is it knows that this Joe Rogan clip should not be published, and because someone else uploaded it, and it heard it on mine, so it flagged it on mine as well. Yeah, it was flagged through a Chromebook. It was absolutely crazy and made me. It hurt it exactly, and there's a theory that that's being done. There are theories that with like your Wi-Fi router or 5G, they can do those kinds of things. But so in this case, I I was confused initially, like what did I say? What did I do? And um, then like I know all their terms and conditions pretty well. I mean, for like an average user, but I and I've watched things that are like I would say very controversial documentaries and things like that, and I've never gotten flagged. But it made me realize that they're listening, and they just were able to put together this clip, and they don't want that being published. So I wondered, like, what is that they say that anything that goes against the WHO, the World Health Organization, or local authorities is not allowed on YouTube, and it's like, well, That's pretty vague. Like what I mean, like I literally talk or I've listened to people like rock stars who have like heroin addictions and like like live with like have like sexually transmitted diseases. Those are things that go against what World Health Organization, local authorities say. Why aren't they flagging me for that? But it just made me realize like they're very strict on some of this stuff, and it also just made me realize that that's the kind of life, the world we're going to be living in, perhaps in the future, where there'll be something that's always listening, and you'll have like a social credit score, and your social credit. Exactly. 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 There will be a thought police essentially. I, I've heard that there will be a thought police and a green police. So like what's a thought police? Those are people from like the Ministry of Propaganda in George Orwell's 1984. But basically people who will enforce what they want Big Brother what what Big Brother wants you to think and believe, and if you go against that, you'll be sent to a re-education camp. And that's basically what happened under communism, and that's what happens in China. I I saw something in China that like people with social credit scores that are low, they um, well they can put you on like billboards and things or like like there's like public shaming, and then yeah, that's true. And they there are aspects of it where if you like, let's say your social credit score isn't that low, but it's too low to have your kid go to a good college. There are ways. There are ways. Exactly. There are ways to raise it though. So I saw these people who were like picking up trash on the side of the road, and like it's not really voluntary. They're just doing it to raise their social credit score so that their kids could go back to school. It was very interesting to me, and it's scary. It's definitely scary. And then the Green Police, they're already starting this in Anaheim, where they're going to be searching through people's trash to make sure that they're recycling correctly. And I definitely can see that happening in the future, where they limit your travel. Th- that's absolutely true. So it's just kind of a bit of a wake up call that just well and and th- basically they're very strict on some subjects um, like like vaccines in particular. They're like extremely strict on it. When you can go on there and say whatever you want about other things, and they won't do anything about it. Like um, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's running for president, and he's essentially someone who is for vaccines. And he can't even get on YouTube without getting copyright strikes, and people won't allow him to interview. And he's a political candidate, and they won't allow him to interview because like people like if he's on a podcast, then and they have that type of discussion, then the podcast will risk getting its channel removed. It's very Big Brotherish, and the other thing is it's all algorithms generally. There's no like human element of it to even say like whether it was subjective or an objective opinion. It's and additionally it's like the World Health Organization. They're not elected, nor are generally like local medical authorities. They're not elected either. So you don't really have any. Um, they're appointed exactly. So you don't have any recourse to be like, well, I want a different candidate or something like that. Exactly. And so, I mean, it's a warning on YouTube, and I've gotten many of them before, but it was just like a random thing that it was on my feed that was on Twitter, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll see what this is. And usually, if it's a Joe Rogan thing, it's like generally like a funny thing, or maybe it has something to do with, I don't know, like generally it's pretty funny. But when he just said, like, what's this about people dropping dead? I mean, that's like a really serious issue, and it's been happening more and more often. So that's the thing I was thinking, like, do I even have to watch myself that and that? No, and here's why. Now, um, it's not as if somebody already knows what I'm saying and is uploading that into YouTube, like they did that Joe Rogan clip. That Joe Rogan clip had like a certain tonation and certain words that he used, and YouTube knew across the entire algorithm if somebody's using these words from this clip, we're gonna we're gonna flag them. But you exactly, but YouTube doesn't know what my pattern is necessarily, um, and I haven't said one way or another whether what my stance is on vaccines, but nevertheless, I mean, I can say like I'm the biggest World Health Organization. I'm a UN supporter, so I don't know why they would want to necessarily ban me from this. But it was just I just thought it was very interesting that future will. I mean, you probably won't be able to talk to people on the phone. Well, the phone's a little different, and and the reason why it's been basically grandfathered in with the freedom of speech to be able to say whatever you want on a telephone. But that doesn't necessarily mean like other types of communication like Discord and Twitter and YouTube. Those are not governed in the same way. So while you can say basically anything you want on a telephone, you can't necessarily do the same on like it's privately owned, which I I'm a free speech advocate. So even there's this saying, while I may not agree with what you have to say, I'll fight for you to have the ability to say it. I'm a very staunch supporter of the First Amendment, but it just it was it was a wake up call a little bit, that Big Brother is watching. That like have you read 1984 or seen the movie? It's essentially there are signs all over the city that's like Big Brother is watching you. It's like a wake up call that that's true. Um, yeah, but back to uh, Instagram. So I've been making these reels, and what it's very much like TikTok, I guess. The reason why I don't do it on TikTok is, um, well, I mean, I have 1,000 TikTok accounts, over 1,000. I have like 1,069. Yeah, 1,000. I spent a month. I did it last December, and the reason why I did it was I would go live on TikTok, and like sometimes people just troll you, especially I'll get trolled for being Jewish, and they'll just be like they'll flag you for being for whatever reason. I've gotten every little reason why: spam, or like hate speech, or copyrighted material, or they'll just flag you for whatever. And like even I'll find like I'll be asleep and I'll get flagged. Like it's like there's just no they'll just people exactly, and they'll also do it to promote their own channel. So let's say you've got people who are going live themselves, they don't want competition, so they'll go to other channels and flag those, so that they're and TikTok's very competitive, I would say, more so in some ways than Twitter or than Instagram is, because you can earn money on TikTok. Not a lot of it, but you can earn money. Now, Twitter, you can earn a lot of money, like tens of thousands of dollars a month. It's pretty amazing how much you can make on Twitter if you're a big account. Not that I'm a big account, but TikTok, basically, yeah, it's really interaction within your tweets. So if you say like you just have a tweet that you just people will be like they'll just ask a question like, what is your favorite thing about the start of a week? And if they're a big account, they'll get 10,000 people that give little pieces of tidbits, and whatever kind of interaction that has, they get money from it. And um, they people are making a lot of money on TikTok or on Twitter. TikTok, not as much, but the reason why I don't do it on TikTok is really the only differences in the platforms, in my opinion, are Instagram. When you go live, you have the ability to save that and put it on your timeline. On TikTok, you do not. You basically have to download it and re-upload it, and it takes too long for me to do that, especially when my videos are really long. So that's why. Well, it is. I mean, you're live streaming, but it doesn't archive that live stream, if that makes sense. So once it's done, it's done. Other like your fans can't go back and watch it. And well, I don't really necessarily have people go back and watch my streams. I do think that like perhaps may in the future, and that's why I use Instagram. Exactly. There's a lot of fear of people who, I guess, like people have live streamed their life before. This isn't the first time that it's ever happened, but they don't archive it. And the reason why is because they do things that are embarrassing, or they have self-conscious issues, and they don't. That's true too. Or they have political opinions, or they have like old tweets or something like that. And I don't, I don't have any of those things. I mean, I wasn't on social media for like the like 10 years before I started doing this, so I don't have any like old tweets of which I'm afraid. And really, I'm a free speech advocate, so I will say anything. I'll say it for educational purposes, and I have on this like I'll use I'll I just I'll say it's for educational purposes, and I'll do my best not to ensure that or uh, it's offensive. I mean, but that's really a subjective opinion of someone. But I don't necessarily have anything that I fear on this, and so I want it archived. I want it available to the future, and at least TikTok does not have that ability. But really, they're the same apps. I don't understand why people think TikTok is such a game-changing app when it's really just what Instagram was, and or what it is. It's just and they're almost like yeah, exactly. So you're right. So there are some things about that. TikTok, the reason why it's called TikTok allegedly is because it's like a hypnosis. You know when someone tries to put you under hypnosis, they might take like a locket out and put it in front of your face like a pendulum, and it'll be like tick tock, tick tock. Because TikTok used to not be called TikTok; it used to be called Musically, and it wasn't very popular at all. But they got a huge influx um, of hedge fund money to be able to promote this, and then additionally, it has a couple strange things that it does to like hypnotize people. The first is it uses two colors that aren't technically seen by the human eye. So it uses this pink and blue, and it's even on its like logo. Those are shifted. Well, no, it's white, black, pink, and blue. Those are the colors that it uses. But so there are two kinds of there are many colors that the human eye cannot perceive. One of them is known as magic magenta. The other is this color cyan. Now, what does that mean? Basically, our brains cannot see that color, so we have to interpret it as a really pink color, and that cyan, that green, as a really or that blue, cyan, cyan, like teal. It's just another name for teal, really. But basically, and like there are yellows, there are greens that the human eye cannot interpret. But basically, they are almost opposite colors. They're not necessarily complementary, but they're close to it, and it messes with the human brain. Then, additionally, when you watch a TikTok, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but it's almost like has a haziness to it, like a slight haziness to it. Well, there can be filters over them. Exactly, it is almost like the filters on it, and that's how I would describe it. And they can allegedly, they can run subliminal messages over that, and so it can just be like obey, consume, keep watching, to basically make people just addicted to it. it could be that as well. Just what they're trying to do is just maximize screen time of their user base, and they just want like content, and the content that they want though is interesting. It's very um, manufactured. I mean, it's all the same as you've seen. A lot of it is. It's just dances and singing and like little. Exactly. And it's nearly impossible if you are trying to do anything of substance to get that to go viral on TikTok or on Instagram too. I mean, it just it's controlled. I saw an interview with Mark Zuckerberg where it was with Joe Rogan, where Joe Rogan was like, so like talk to me about Instagram, like what are your goals for it? And he's like, well, really, I want to create like a user friendly environment that's really that's child friendly, though not a lot of it is. I mean, it's very sexualized in many ways, but consumer friendly. And then there's a new one which is advertiser friendly, and that's a big thing. A lot of like content on YouTube or TikTok and Instagram, they want to be advertiser friendly. So what does that mean? It's very clean. It doesn't necessarily. It's not like it doesn't cuss. It doesn't show nudity because they want advertisers to use the platform, which is their prerogative. Um, but that's very also open ended to like, well, what does that mean when it comes to advertiser friendly? Basically, some advertisers will want you to sell their products for so what else does that mean? It's like doesn't involve like drug use or cannabis or CBD. It doesn't involve alcohol a lot of times. Like they want it. It's very manufactured, and like TikTok just kind of took the same um, it's the same general idea and has uh, made it their own. And in the same all these companies just copy off of each other. And like, I mean, I've been in the app industry. You can take any person's idea. You can patent an app, but it's not in your best interest to as a company, because all another company has to do is take that whatever you patented and change it very slightly, and then it's a new patent. So you basically would have to create like patent after patent after patent with every update that you do um, to your app, and it just isn't necessarily financially viable. So when it comes to Facebook or Instagram, any of those meta companies, um, they can just literally steal from other companies, and um, and there's no retribution. So TikTok is just basically stolen from Instagram. Instagram stole from Twitter when they created their new threads, and Elon Musk has even said that he's going to sue. So Mark Zuckerberg or Meta over threads, stealing Twitter's. I and he stole it. Absolutely, he stole it from the Winklevoss twins at Harvard. Uh, so I mean, I Facebook, and even before then, I mean, there's a project by DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, basically that was called LifeLog. That was a project basically that closed on February 1st, 2004, and Facebook's first day was February 2nd, 2004. So basically, a lot of people just think that it was just a government project that he took over, and I mean, I can't say that I just there's one day different. Yeah, it closed. LifeLog closed on it, most certainly is. And I've been using Facebook since its first year. So I joined in 2004, the same year it started. And back then, it was only for like it started at Harvard, and then it was for elite colleges, and exactly. And then it was only for every college, and then it expanded to everyone. So I've been able to see what this website has turned into and become an app and all the other things. And 2004 to 2008. So that was my first year, and it was really a different kind of website. I mean, it was very basic. There wasn't any advertising on it. You just had a picture. There weren't even pictures. You had one picture. You had a profile picture. I remember when they opened it up to pictures. That was a really big deal because then you could see, you go out to parties and things like that, and upload your pictures and things. But yeah, originally there were just one. You had one profile picture, and it had competition certainly, but it killed off MySpace, which is was like the forerunner for social media. And now, now you're needing, I mean, I think it's improper that you need this, but like you need a Facebook to like do things. Like, what does that mean? Like, perhaps you'll need a Facebook to buy some types of currencies, or to, like, you need a Facebook to basically get on Instagram. You don't necessarily, I shouldn't say that, but it's tied together. Like, there's that metaverse that he's created, and that's not even the last name of the company. I remember when they Facebook announced that it would be transitioning to the name Meta. This was like 2 years ago. They said it wasn't the last name that they would use, that the last name they're going to use is Verizon, which is like, wait, there's already a Verizon Wireless. What does this even mean? But there's the idea that perhaps Zuckerberg may buy Verizon at the end of all of this, so that he has a cellular provider and a broadband provider as well. Exactly. Well, it's powered by Meta. So if you go on Facebook and you look at the very bottom of the page, you'll see the Meta symbol, which is like a little infinity symbol, and it'll say powered by Meta. And so, well, so the thought is that either they're going to merge, or he's just going to essentially steal the name. But I think it's his best interest to probably just buy it. And then you're going to get, exactly, you're going to, you're absolutely right. And this is what they talk about in like sci-fi dystopias, where you have these corporatocracies that really break down all the laws so that they're able to just merge. And basically, you'll have like Facebook and Verizon will be a company. X, like what Twitter was, is now going to be SpaceX. It's Neuralink. It's the Boring Company. It's um, it's Tesla. It's all these major, like, they're all, exactly, they're super companies basically. And there was a well, it's what they are, or mega corporations, however else you want to just define them. And there were, this was a fear of people 100 years ago, even before then. People don't realize that the first business, like the first contracts, I shouldn't say the first contract, the first um, business, oh, what's the word for which I'm looking? There's a word. Basically, you had to get permission from the king in England, or whatever. Um, the first corporations had they were limited. So, oh, charters, that's the word for which I'm looking. Charters. So the first business charters were limited to a certain amount of years, because there was a fear that they would become very strong eventually. And the one that changed everything was well, there were a couple of them, but particularly the British East India Company, which controlled um, the trade, basically, between China and the West, and created the Opium Wars. And it took over, India. I mean, this is a company that had its own army, and eventually this continued until the 1860s, when it was dissembled, essentially. But people don't realize that its flag, if you ever look at the flag of the British East India Company, it's essentially the same flag as the United States. British East India Company. Yes. So what, an army, it had an army that took over continents. It took over India, You know, like the exactly right, and it also controlled the. You're exactly right. Yeah, it's very scary. But the idea was that these companies needed to have limited charters, or else they would expand. I mean, eventually they would be so large that they would be larger than countries, and that's what's going to happen. In the future, you'll have companies that are more powerful than countries, and they no longer have to listen to the country's laws anymore. So what does that mean? Basically, a company like Google, which isn't even Google, it's Alphabet. Alphabet owns Google, um, because Alphabet owns Google, it owns YouTube, it owns Waymo, it owns Waze, it owns a bunch of companies, and they're all like a letter of the alphabet. So Google is the G, like Waze, like YouTube is the Y. Basically, they have like 26 subsidiaries, and yeah, they do. Yeah. Now, are they all utilized as much as Google and YouTube? No, but basically that was their plan. So you'll have major companies that you'll have a, like the United States will say to Google, we don't want you. We want like more free speech on the internet. Let's say that you'll have a, like the United States will say to Google, we don't want you. We want like more free speech on the internet. Let's say, and Google will just say no, and they don't have to listen to them essentially. As of right now, um, the like especially when it comes to European Union and companies, the and countries, I should say, the companies have to listen to the government entity in order to do business there. But it's getting to the point where they're just saying no, and they're doing whatever they want without any retribution. And I mean, it's a really scary world when you have companies that are more entitled or feel they're more entitled than countries, and then you have these shadow companies that are funding them. Essentially, the big three are BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, but there are some others too, that are these major holding companies, these major hedge funds. Berkshire Hathaway is one of them as well, and so like basically these companies just put a little bit of money. Well, it's a huge amount of money in comparison, but they'll only own like 10% of the company, but that's still a huge amount of influence that they have on the company, and then all the people have to do what they have to say. And I mean, people. This is why we had monopoly laws that were trying to prevent this, and they've basically been circumvented through internationalization, through global finance, to get around some of these laws, and now it's a free for all. So it's basically and eventually, if you follow this out, there will just be one company. There'll be one mega corporation that rules the world. If you take some, because I mean, if you quote J.P. Morgan, he said competition is evil, and what like usually competition is good when it comes um, to like development of new products and things, but not when you're a mogul like that. Then competition is evil to you, and everybody should be working together, and um, you'll have just one mega corporation. Now, will it be in your and my lifetime? Well, brain uploading is a thing, it perhaps maybe, but it won't be for maybe a few generations. But eventually, there will just be one company. I don't know what it'll be called, but it'll control the world, which is quite a scary thought. Exactly. I mean, that there are reasons why Meta has the infinity symbol. You know, they're like trying to mark their 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 ground almost. Um, you're exactly right. So I know that's just the most exciting, most positive news that you could hear, that the world is moving towards one mega corporation. Well, you know, you raised a really good point that these companies are will have armies, and they already are starting to. with, I mean, it happened with defense contractors, basically with drones in Afghanistan and Iraq and things, where we were able to use machines to kill people without any retribution to the company. Meaning, you would hear about us, particularly when we had conflict in Afghanistan. I think is probably the one you'd hear about most, where we would drop missiles from a drone on like a wedding party and kill like all kinds of innocent people, and there would just be like no retribution for that. They wouldn't ever take the CEO of these defense contractors to they would never put them on trial when maybe maybe 100 years ago there might have been some retribution for the head of a company if their product, they're not considered liable. Exactly. It's a combination. So at a certain point, it's the government that says that it's the government that um, maybe may have the operators of it, but the company itself is the one that's like has created the weapons. And so there's the argument to be made that if you're creating weapons that are basically autonomously killing people, you should be liable for that as the leader or an executive in one of these corporations. But that's not a thing. There is no retribution. There's no liability, and we've taken that kind of technology and now we've moved it from an international scale domestically, where you will have companies that will have drones and will have robots that are operating for them autonomously, and you will essentially have to do what this robot says. It's a very scary world, but it's the truth. And they'll have armies of these things. Boston Dynamics, we've talked about this company before, but they're the ones that have that robot that can jump um, on stairs and can like lift things. And that company is owned by Hyundai, and so essentially like that's yeah, like the car company. So eventually that company may use those for nefarious purposes, for security personnel, for perhaps peacekeeping authorities. They may use them for security, all kinds of, you name it, they can use that, and they'll sell that to other companies. So that's why, you know, we're probably in the last generation of people who will have the idea that they're going to have permanent jobs, because in the future, anything that a human can do, a robot's going to be able to do better. And aside, the only things that really they won't be able to do better are things that people desire to be done by humans. So what would that be? Art, in particular, would be like the major thing that people will desire that can't be done by a um, a it can be done by a robot better than a human, but it won't have the same value. So AI generated art already is very common, but it doesn't have the same kind of appeal to humans as human generated art, because people want that connection that this was actually done with the human touch. And it's a scary world, but that's kind of our future. And you're in the heart of it. San Francisco is like ground zero. It's a good point. Absolutely. The jerk is right. And in my studies, the high point of human society will be seen as 1950s California. What do I mean by that? Basically, it was post war, so post World War II, while we were at war, perhaps in Korea, there was this huge movement, there's a huge migration of people to California. where the laws were much looser, so to speak, as opposed to particularly out east, and people had the most amount of freedom. And as of now, we've lost that. And now, I'm not saying California's. Yeah, I mean, I think that can be argued. And it's gotten worse. Exactly. You're exactly right. I mean, massive amounts of homes, huge tracts of lands, planned, and that doesn't mean it couldn't be done again. I mean, there's a lot of land inland that could be utilized. I really think that California, absolutely, the thing that prevents us from doing that is environmental and um, generally construction limitations that are imposed by local and state governments. But that doesn't necessarily mean that those can't be changed. But like you, I mean, we've talked about it before, where you could build inland. I mean, California's a huge, it's a massive state. You could fit every person on Earth within LA County, let alone, I mean, it'd be tight, but I mean, let alone the entirety of the state of California. It has a lot of opportunity. I really think eventually California will be its own country. It's already the fifth largest economy in the world, and I think that we're so disinterested in what goes on with the rest of the United States, and also the fact is that we are indebted, on through exactly the flyover states, and but there's not any. And I think that perhaps you may see New York being its own state someday. I mean, it is known as a bit, not its own state, its own country someday. I think that Long Island could be its own state. There are changes. It it wouldn't it wouldn't, but if the state chooses to secede, there's not a lot that the country can do. So aside from declare war on it, I mean, this is what happened during the Confederacy in the 1860s. I think the next state that you'll see is Puerto Rico, the 51st state, and then very soon thereafter, you'll see Guam and American Samoa. And then once we have 53 states, perhaps even more, people will no longer have that connection to 50 states, and this is the only way that it can ever be. And we're only united that maybe we can lose states. So I think you'll see California secede. There's also the idea that Northern and Southern California could break into two. I mean, we're pretty separate states as it is. And there's also the idea that we may see the capital of California move from Sacramento to Bakersfield, a more centralized location. Well, the thing is, there's not a lot there, and there's a lot of opportunity to expand. And there's like the Central Valley that all kind of feeds into that, and it's close enough to LA, but far enough away that there has been some discussions that that might be a good spot for it. And then also with the high-speed rail, that's basically where it's going to be based on. So I mean, I'm not saying that that's all imminent, but I could see those things happening. And I mean, you never know when it comes to this state. It always kind of keeps you on edge. But um, one other thing, there are basically like four families that run the state. There's the Hearsts, there's the Pelosi's, there's the Browns, like Governor Brown, and then there's the Newsoms are associated with the Hearsts. There's like the Gettys as well. Basically, like those four, Getty Oil, that's particularly in Southern California. If you ever heard of the Getty Estate, the Getty Museum, um, they're major families here. But basically, they're like four families that run the state of California, and then they just cycle them through with a new governor. They're all controlled basically by the same people, though, and so that would continue on larger scale if we were our own country. And we already think of ourselves as a country. I could also see us, the state of California, absorbing Las Vegas because it's very close. A lot of people from Las Vegas are transplants from California, and that would all be like Reno as well. I could see, that Lake Tahoe. Exactly. That's true. It's taken some time. Go ahead. You, I think you're right. They're seen as a different type of people. Correct. Right. And it, well, and there's a difference too that people could travel by land to these other New Mexico, Arizona, California, but you can't do the same with Puerto Rico. And in order to survive in Puerto Rico, you need to know Spanish. So it's not like your general American can succeed there, and so there aren't as many business opportunities. But and then American Samoa and Guam are so far away that there's never been a real general interest um, in in making. Yeah, and that correct. Now I personally, I mean, I think it's almost taxation because they're taxed like at what America is, but they're not represented, and I don't think that's right. I mean, it's one of the things why we had the Revolutionary War was taxation without representation. Basically, yeah, in Parliament. Well, they want them, and same with the District of Columbia, which may be a state as well eventually, because they don't have representation. So it goes against American ideals basically to tax someone. They don't have senators, they don't have Congress people. Oh, wait, they're under American jurisdiction. So they're a territory which has its own types of law that are very similar to federal, but that doesn't mean that they get to vote on them. So they don't have any representation in Congress. I should say they do have some type of representation, but they don't have any voting representation. So I think they have someone who is a like a I'll look it up in a second. Basically, they're someone who has some type of representation, but they don't have voting power, which hasn't always been the case either. That's more of a new um, uh, feature. So voting in let's see here, Puerto Rico, and there's the idea too. Like I think that a lot of people, so they have current non-voting members of the U.S. House of Representatives. As of the 118th United States Congress, the 6 non-voting delegates consist of three Democrats and 3 Republicans. So they are non-voting delegates, so they're not representatives. But they're still taxed. They still have to, file for income tax, and so there's a big push. And I think there's been more inclusivity within America as well, and particularly Puerto Rico. Puerto Ricans in New York are very much more prominent. New York City has a huge demographic of Puerto Ricans that I could see. I could see that being a 51st state, and won't necessarily take that long. I don't know when, but perhaps. So with that idea, I'm gonna let you be. It's been a wonderful conversation. Some positives, some negatives, certainly. I hope you have a wonderful night, Rachel, and I look forward to speaking with you soon. Take care. Have a good night, Rachel. Bye.
I hope Lisa was able to give you some insight. Thanks, Lisa. Audrey's with us in Manhattan. Oh, east of the Rockies. Hello, Audrey.
You're done. Are you done? Thank you. Mary in Los Angeles. Hi, Mary. Take it away. This other guy in the market. What did he die of?
our humanness, right? Our ego, our personality, our judgment, our emotional pain, and our trauma, and trying to awaken and trying to realize that we are so much more than this body, and that we are infinite souls. So hopefully for you, it's a comfort to know that they are there. I feel that they are actually both there still for you. So I don't know if you ever can talk to or hear them speak to you, but I definitely see them as part of that beautiful kind of angelic theme. And what I know is that so many people, because it's not an easy transition, it's not easy to create a new work, to go from a third dimensional earth and realm into a higher fourth dimensional energy and vibration. And again, the field will continue to thin, the veil will thin, and we will eventually, and we don't know if it's going to take 10 years or 100 years to move up into the fifth dimension. But I do know that a lot of souls will say, I think I'll come back and do it as a young soul instead of doing it, in my 50s, 60s, 70s, where it's not quite as easy because it's a big energy shift for the body. So, but they are there with you, and they are helping from the other side.
Let's go to Susan in Wisconsin, first time caller. Hi, Susan. Go ahead.
Hi, George.
Hi.
And hi, Lisa. My question is, can you tell me any of my ancestors subjects in my past with this lifetime? I'm sorry, the past in this lifetime, I didn't understand it. Any of my classic records from the past, do you have anything? Oh, okay. Well, let's see. So interesting, it shows me an image of you as a pioneer in a wagon. I see you as really an adorable little girl. I see you with like a couple of little sisters, all girls, and your mother, who was a real pioneer, tough woman, and your father coming across the plains. And so it looks like you ended up a little bit more in the maybe Kansas is what I'm hearing. And so you have a very pioneering spirit. You're very creative, think out of the box, and you can adapt really well. Those are some of the gifts that you brought from that lifetime.
Now, how did you tap into her Akashic?
I just could feel her, right? And so I just asked the record keepers. I have my records open. I asked the record keepers to bring everyone who's listening today and in the future into the Akash so that I can speak to all of you who are interested in this work that I'm speaking about today. And whether you're listening to it tomorrow or next year, it doesn't matter. It's kind of all the listeners who are here, kind of in this energetic moment. Because, of course, there is no time and space. And I just felt her name, her place, and that's the life they showed me.
Let's go west of the Rockies. Camille's with us in Vancouver, British Columbia, in Canada. Hello, Camille.
Hi, George.
Good to have you with us.
Thank you. Lisa, I've had a very troubling relationship with my only daughter, and I'm just wondering if the Akashic records could give me an idea of the reasons, maybe.
Why the conflict? Maybe some.
Yeah, so this is what they're saying. It's interesting, and it's, of course, really challenging as a parent, as a mother. We do not always write soul contracts with all of our children outside of the kind of the giving birth aspect. So there are, we don't always have soul contracts with our parents or with our children. And so what I'm hearing is the soul contract is more with the father, and you're on different paths. And so it's, well, I'm going to say it's nothing personal. That's what the record keepers are saying. They're saying that she really is just on a different path, so you're not kind of meshing or seeing eye to eye.
So we only have a minute left. I'd like you to give us your website.
Oh, thank you, George. My website is akashicnowing.com, and I would love to offer a 25% discount on readings with me. Anyone who's interested, you can just use the promo code George. It sounds like that works really easily for people to receive 25% off an Akashic Records reading with me, and you'll find all that information, and you can schedule right on my website at Akashic Knowing. And I have a class starting in September on the 18th. So if you're interested in learning to read your own records, please join me in my online workshop in September. And if you can't make that one, there's another one in October. And it's again all on AkashicKnowing.com.
Lisa, thanks for being on the program. Keep in touch with us, okay?
It's my pleasure. I appreciate you.
You take care of yourself. Up next, we're talking about Bigfoot, and we'll have some clips later on in the program of what purportedly could be Bigfoot. They're kind of frightening.
Do you have a photo that you think would interest the Coast to Coast audience? We're always on the hunt for unique and unusual images for our photo gallery. To submit your image, simply go to coasttocoastam.com and mouse over the media button on the upper navigation bar, and you'll see the submission option.
It's back to school time for kids, including your babies. Head Start believes all children 1st to 5 deserve a high-quality early education. That's the best way to get them ready to succeed in school and beyond. Head Start is enrolling children of all abilities and expecting parents. Sign up today. Go to prekkid.org or call 877-773-5543. Again, that's prekkid.org or call 877-773-5543.
Bachelor Happy Hour, the one and only official Bachelor Nation podcast, is back. Go behind the scenes with your hosts, Bachelor in Paradise Season 7 newlyweds, Joe Anomaly and Serena Pitt, for real stories about what happened with Bachelor Nation.
Here on Bachelor Happy Hour, we'll be putting all the guys in the hot seat, but exclusive interviews will be first to talk to the men. We're going to bring Trump into the house and leave probably brokenhearted.
Listen to Bachelor Happy Hour on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Are you looking to sell your home quickly and easily without having to deal with repairs or the worry of buyers qualifying for new high interest rate loans? Wholesale Advantage, with thousands of satisfied customers, they are the go-to choice for homeowners looking to sell their homes fast. They'll apply your home for a competitive cash offer, and they can close in just days, not weeks or months. No repairs are needed because they buy homes as is. They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and with the most 5-star reviews on Google and Yelp. It's no wonder why thousands of sellers have chosen Seller's Advantage. Seller's Advantage is the fastest and most stress-free way to sell your home. If you're ready to sell your home, you call Seller's Advantage. Get a no-obligation offer at 888-321-AS-IS. 888-321-AS-IS. 888-321-2747. SellersAdvantage.com. Email 0196165 to the following program will be recorded. A judge faces the legal system in his wife's killing. I'm Mark Romer from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. An Orange County Superior Court judge is out of jail following his arrest in connection with the killing of his wife. Charges have yet to be filed against Judge Jeffrey Ferguson. AJ Cheryl Ferguson was shot and killed in Anaheim Hills. The judge was a prosecutor at the Orange County DA's office for decades. The OCDA would not comment on the case, but said prosecutors are waiting to see if the state AG will step in to avoid any appearance of conflict of interest. And appears to have posted a photo of his wife on Thursday afternoon with a comment complimenting her appearance. The judge was arrested for her murder Thursday night. Jail records show Ferguson posted $1 billion bail and was released Friday afternoon in Anaheim. Morgan Carson, KFI News. Funny training has California Department of Education says it received so many questions on potty training and bathroom protocol last year, they had to clarify their enrollment policy. California Teachers Association says the issue should be bargained into the teachers' union contracts. Districts say parents need to potty train their kids before school starts. The community landmark in Burbank has announced it will close its doors for good. The Picnic Bowl has been open for more than 60 years, and the owners say the decision to shut down next week comes after years of legal battles for the developer who wants to turn the property into an apartment complex. Its neighboring Picnic Gardens, which offers weddings, banquets, and catering, will continue to operate as usual. They say the LA Kings acquired the rink in 2018 and will still run the facility. ROTHSCHILD says its revenue plunged 30.5% in the second quarter. The company based in El Segundo says its revenue between $360 million and $380 million for the year. That's down from $375 to $415 million it forecast at the end of the first quarter. Ron Mead says its net loss narrowed to 83 cents per share.
So we have to reduce ourselves from being interns. And I get devil. Not hungry and dirty scratch.
And William Friedkin, the director of The Exorcist and The French Connection, has died. The French Connection won 5 Oscars in 1972, including acting and directing trophies. Another one of Friedkin's smash hits, The Exorcist, grossed nearly $200 million in 1973 and earned 10 Oscar nominations. Friedkin's family friend confirmed his death in LA this morning. He was 87. Southland weather from KFI, some clouds and fall overnight, lows in the mid-60s. Sunny tomorrow, highs in the mid-70s at the beaches, mid-80s in Metro LA and OC, 90 in the valleys and AB, mid-90s in the Inland Empire. Then we have a 20% chance of rain on Wednesday. It's 66 in Irvine, 66 in Brea, 66 in Burbank, 75 in Palmdale. We meet local from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. I'm Mark Roman. Hey, Team Star, for years now, I have told you that there are only 2 types of solar companies in Southern California: Sunlux and everyone else. And year after year, Sunlux proves me right. The same is now true of the newest addition to the Sunlux family, All-Guard Roofing. All that time on the roof, dealing with roofers, Sunlux knows how rare it is to find a roofer worthy of your trust. Their answer? Assemble a dream team of the finest roofing professionals in Southern California and call it All-Guard Roofing. Any roof, any style, from repairs to full replacement, decades of roofing expertise and GAF certified. When the question is where to find a roofer worthy of your trust, the answer is All-Guard. Safeguarding homes one roof at a time. You owe it to your roof. Contact the Dream Team at All-Guard Roofing for a free estimate today. They're just a click away at allguardroofing.com. Allguardroofing.com. CSW 11076. Everyone is on a hero's journey. You are right now. We are all called to adventure in our lives, whether it be a new job, a new child, or a new home. At Rooter Hero, we understand your journey is challenging enough without having to face plumbing, drain, and air problems that disrupt your life. You're busy slaying other dragons. One of the dragons we Rooter Hero slay on our adventure is the clogged drain. Creeping up on you will cause damage to your home. A clogged drain gets nastier the longer you ignore it. Instead of breathing fire, it could flood your home with putrid waste, which is an absolute health hazard. But never fear, because Rooter Hero is here, and we'll make sure that never happens. We'll hero cable your drains to keep your family safe and healthy, and you can go on being a hero in your life.
If you have a clogged drain, we'll hero cable it for $77. Call Rooter Hero today or schedule online at rooterhero.com.
See a 9 ounces of bathing. Guys, why should Viagra, aka Sildenafil, for Roman? Roman 100% online. You'll only be prescribed genuine medication. Roman offers free to free shipping. For 20% off your entire first order, go to ro.co/reason. ro.co/reason. You know, when they let you rent a car when you're 25. Accidents, quote, with assault weapons are a very different thing. I mean, if you just look at the number of shootings, the average age of school shootings since 1966 has been 18. Bill Handel, what does that tell you? Live 6 to 9 a.m. on KFI and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app. The people in prison committed the crimes, period. And that's all that matters. Their color, their ethnicity doesn't matter. They committed the crimes. And gangs are in the business of crime. John and Ken, they don't do anything else but commit crimes all day. Live 1 to 4 p.m. on KFI and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app. naturally in an agitated state. You know, I'm not supposed to be on this planet. This is a terrible mistake. In fact, 5 years old, I said I shouldn't be here. I know I'm the victim of some massive practical joke, and I'm just waiting for the payoff. John and Jen are waiting for me to blow. Live 1 to 4 p.m. on KFI and on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app. KFI, AM 640. KFI, AM 640. More stimulating talk. So happy to live. Premier Networks presents Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Up next, we'll be talking with a couple experts this hour about Bigfoot. It's an amazing story. And later on this hour, you're going to hear some actual sounds of what could very well be Bigfoot. Kind of scary. So listen out. In a moment, Ron Moorhead joins us Coast to Coast AM. 4 weeks away from the Durban Accords, the greatest threat to the U.S. dollar's global dominance in the past 80 years. On August 22nd, these nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are expected to announce the launch of this new international super currency. Fully backed by gold or other commodities, it's part of their long-term plan to push out the U.S. and the dollar as cornerstones of the global financial system. How can you protect your IRA or 401k from the fallout from this landmark announcement? You can diversify with gold from the Dutch gold pool. Historically, gold is a safe haven in times of high uncertainty, which is right now. You get a free info kit on gold IRAs and decide for yourself. Tax-sheltered retirement account backed by physical precious metals is right for you. Text the word COAST to 989898. There's a monumental shift happening in one of the nations that controls 1/3 of the world's gross domestic product. It kicks off on August 22nd. Arm yourself with information to protect your retirement savings. Simply text COAST to the number 989898. Like a free info kit from Virtual. We all know Joe Biden isn't getting the job done and too often is making things worse. That's conservative business leader Doug Burgum, one of America's most successful governors. Raised with small-town values, Burgum built a billion-dollar company, creating thousands of jobs. As governor of North Dakota, Doug Burgum cut taxes, balanced the budget, and helped pass term limits. Where we come from, when something isn't working, stop and try something new. That's common sense. Joe Biden has got to go. As president, Doug Burgum will unleash American energy and end Biden's inflation. He'll secure the border to stop the flow of illegal drugs. And Burgum will rebuild our military to win the Cold War with China. Do you believe that the economy, energy, and national security are critical to our nation's future? Remember, that's why I'm running for president. Let's take a look at the world is responsible for the content of this advertising. Unauthorized by any champion or candidate excluded. www.catholicclerical.com. And welcome back to Coast. George Norrie with you this half hour. Ron Moorhead joins us as traveled the world doing research on the unexplained, undiscovered, underexplored. He is recognized around this planet for the best Bigfoot Sasquatch audio recordings known as the Sierra Sound. This is the website where you can learn about Ron's travels, products, the offers, and this continued research into the uniqueness of the world. We've got that linked up for you. That's coasttocostam.com. Ron, it was a pleasure seeing you in Everett, Washington at our live show. How have you been?
I've been great, George. How have you been?
Good. How did you get involved in hunting down Bigfoot?
Well, I got involved with a hunting group that has actually been hunting this area around the mountain, South 8,000 gorgeous, 8,400 feet elevation, and it's very imposing place to get to. And then they go in this 58. Anyway, they came out with a story, these two Johnson brothers, and they said that there's a monster up there as a Bigfoot, and yeah, the money in his camp is what it does. Well, he has to get off and go back, so he's back to back with him. He's the wise who were worried about the other guys. There's about 5 of them that popped that. I became a 6th, and that's how I got involved. And so we started taking tape recorders in because they kept coming back, and that's more than one of them. And, anyway, it just basically at night when they come around, and very exciting times, really. Wasn't until 1974 when they started actually interacting with me while we were outside the shelter, which is unusual because normally they wait till he's inside the shelter. Very lucid, very, very elusive, very fast. So that's why I got involved, George, and it's been an exciting adventure. I'm honored to be with you tonight.
Ron, what do you think this creature is?
I think they definitely have a component to them in this sense, I think, by my research and the science that I got behind it. And they're probably, I'm guessing that they're squash well, because nobody really knows, but I think they're a product of alien intervention into the genome of a species on this planet. And probably older than human Homo sapiens like we are. I think in here, some of them anyway, they're not all the same, in my opinion. They're just the deviations in there. I've been all over the planet, like I said, and just every country has their own.
Now, the ones we hear so much about on the West Coast, Ron, in the Northwest, are they much like the Yeti we hear about from the Himalayas?
Not the ones I dealt with, no. That's what I'm getting at. It's the Himalayas, they're all way up high. And these were, they've been seen that low in normal patients, the ones I dealt with. And they do have a language, which we found out too. That's very exciting because nothing's supposed to have language on this planet except humans, according to Dr. Lieberman at Brown University. So that puts a human component in, as far as I'm concerned. We had studies done at Dr. TRUMAN did these studies in the late 70s, and let's see, University of Wyoming, he's professor of engineering to establish the towns where indeed made time recording manipulated or changed or speed up or slowed down. And the representative animal rate that's all. Just one of the stuff it did if you studied. So yeah, the Sierra Nevada Mountains between Lake Tahoe and Yosemite. That's where it all took place.
Ron, are we still getting reports of Bigfoot sightings all over the place?
Oh yes. But in fact, they're coming out of the woodwork everywhere. I speak to these conventions, and I guess there's not hundreds anymore, there's thousands. So I'm surprised. It's very, very interesting because so many people are seeing them, and they're just coming out and more so than ever. That kind of correlates with biblical ancient texts too, as far as the giants being on the earth in the last 50s. They've been on the earth a long time, but they don't come out. Just like it's very elusive. There's some very interesting anomalies associated with these things.
Have they ever hurt a human being that you know?
Well, some of them have been reported to Fort Park, Alaska, where the Discovery Channel took me a couple of years ago. There's a story about these things immediately. These villagers, they abandoned the village. And yeah, there's like 30 people from that village that got killed or mutilated. And they didn't regardless if it was a Bigfoot-like creature that did it. There's been other reports like that, like the Lone Cave in Nevada, where the bodies have stories about things with cannibalistic giants, redwood giants. There's stories like that around, but there's more often stories of non-violence and like
Tell us about the Sierra camp. Where is that?
Well, it's between the Philly and Lake Tahoe. I don't think the specifics of it because I think the place to get in is in that country thing. Those people have to try now to help them, and that's just not the way it goes. These things, I think, if you ever see one, it's like that. It hit by lightning twice or something. They're very, very sincere. They have an intuition about it, which is always underestimated by most people. They seem to box you and try to trip them. And, so they're very unusual. There's a lot of ideas about them because I've been doing this for over 50 years now.
Now, why do they call it the Sierra camp?
There's been the same about it. That's just the name it came up with because they call it that.
Do you have many sightings in that region?
There's quite a few sightings from that whole region all the way from California way up to Washington too. I was living on the peninsula just before we moved out here in North Carolina. There's a lot of activity there. I can speak after another week or two. So it's exciting, really, to hear what people have to say, and there's so many reports over the years. And so I put all this stuff together, and I tried to make some sense out of it because so many reports are just telling me things that I ran into myself. But being around is associated with the different lights that come around, different styles they hear, different source of it. Like you couldn't decide the source of where the sounds came from, even though I don't know if I'm at the vocalization or I'm talking about. I left off the camp was being tore apart. We thought it was inside the shelter. We got it later when it all explosion stopped and nothing had changed. Nothing. How do you explain that? It's kind of weird. So you just kind of put it on the shelf and wait till it happens. So we took an investigative reporter in there in 1972. He thought it was probably a hoax, so I pulled play. Didn't know that at the time, but he recorded the sound. He's the one that actually fostered the study. That was Alan Berry. He fostered the study at the University of Wyoming, and then wasn't until later on he found out there's actually a language involved in it. And began researching it all the time. And since then, it's just been quite an adventure for me.
We're going to play some sound later this half hour with your associate Scott Nelson.
Yeah, Scott's
it's great recording.
But yeah, actually, Alberti got some really good recordings for one night. I remember all the recordings. We got a lot of redundancy, but he had his microphone remoted up 30, 40 feet above a shelter. And sounds like they're standing right outside the microphone, but you couldn't see them. I mean, you couldn't see anything. There's a lot of big trees up there, too. So, but where he had, all it was all little serpentine, this little big tree. Anyway, most likely it's intended there, but it's available to us, and you just have to understand how things really work throughout the universe, not just in the micro world. And that's what I get into my research.
You prefer to call them Sasquatch or Bigfoot?
You know, I don't even call it Bigfoot. I think big people are big giants because they're very intuitive. They're smart. These people outfox you. At least the ones we dealt with, but they're not all the same. And I just don't believe they are. And most people will refer them to their characterizing American Patterson film, which is the in Buck Creek, California, 1967, because that's been pretty much established as the name. And these things are, I don't know what that was then, but it looked like a large female walking forest. It did. And ours, I think, are different. Tracks ways are different. We have the same tracks up there, same configuration.
How tall are they?
Well, they know how old they are. We have the little one up there, like the little 9-inch track in the snow, and then we have the ones which are, like I say, the guy got to it past year over 12-foot tall.
12-foot tall? Wow.
Had a 25-inch track and had a 13-foot between the tracks, and it wasn't raining. So when I couldn't see that, you just don't know. I mean, I think they have a way, and I think scientifically it's been established that the antimatter exists, and they have a way of going out of our perception. See what it meant to X range. So what about all this voice of the wilderness? And it's and not all this, it's where it might be true though. And so very fortunate.
But you believe there's something extraterrestrial to them?
Well, the ones I'm aware of, yes, I do. I do. Either that or they really evolved over the gods of time, but I don't know what gave them their consciousness that those who do what they do, because they can really go out of our perception to another dimension, which they have a way of doing that, which will hardly be talked to so many people that they saw they can disappear.
You sure of it?
I think it's just
Sure.
we see it all. I see it doesn't exist. Well, no, it can exist. It's called antimatter. It's the direct exchange between the
Heading to a safer route.
and I think that they can find a frequency you can bring them in for that. So that's what they do.
OnStar. Better never stops.
Every year, thousands of athletes disappear in clutch moments due to falling hydration levels.
I used to go missing all the time. I let everyone down. I even let Shannon Sharp down.
Yeah, you let me down. They've been told how you feel yourself doesn't matter. That electrolytes are all the same. And just like that, they're gone. Get yourself back in the game. Get yourself a Gatorade. Could be the difference between dominate and disappearing. Gatorade, rehydrate, replenish, refuel.
Sometimes Jonah wrestles with falling asleep, so he takes ZQL, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, for a better night's sleep. So now he wakes up feeling like himself, the reigning family room middleweight champion. Better days start with ZQL Nights.
When the details take precedence, the rest falls perfectly into place. We strip away everything but the essential, and what we're left with are thoughtful bedrooms for modern living. Fumo.
This is Fubo TV. It's a better way to watch live news, shows, and sports without cable. On the only live TV streaming service rated #1 in customer satisfaction by J.D. Power. Try free at FuboTV.com.
I've shaved every day for 20 years, a couple times a week, just for special occasions. Shaving gets me ready for my day. I feel more confident in clean shave. But I'm tired of overpaying for a close shave. Harry's, I don't have to. Harry's offers 5-blade closeness and comfort. It's got all the features that I love. And refills cost as low as $2 each. Only half of what I paid before. It's a premium shaving experience without the premium price tag. Go to harrys.com/TV to claim your $5 trial.
Hi, Phil Swift here for Flex Super Wide Duct Tape. This is no ordinary duct tape. Just check out how wide this is. It has a tough reinforced backing that's super strong, but it still can be torn by hand. And a thick, powerful adhesive that bonds to metal, glass, PVC, all types of surfaces. And it's water resistant. So once it sticks, it keeps its grip. Our super wide duct tape can be torn to any size, so there's absolutely no waste. Pick a thin strip for small repairs, or use a super wide strip for those giant jobs. Flex duct tape is so strong that just one super wide strip can lift this 500-pound safe. Plus, it can be removed and repositioned and still holds on tight. Temporary auto repairs go from this to this. Organize messy wires and go from this to this. Tears in furniture go from this to this. Now you can seal up drafty windows and all or reinforce heavy boxes. To show you the power of our Flex Super Wide Duct Tape, we built this metal frame, wrapped it, covered it, and sealed it with only our super wide duct tape. Introducing the Flex Super Wide Duct Tape Rainbow. Not only can it speed across the water, but our super strong water-resistant backing can take the pounding, and our powerful adhesive holds the entire rainbow together. Now that's what I'm talking about. Forget ordinary duct tapes. Get our new high-performance Flex Super Wide Duct Tape.
I sign up for free trials all the time. What I don't do is cancel them. Rocket Money uncovers hidden subscriptions and notifies you when a charge is upcoming. From there, you decide if you want that service. And if not, cancel it right from the app with one tap. Download Rocket Money today.
I can't stay here for the rest of my life. I have had this feeling inside me. I am supposed to go doing something.
Figure it out. Did you get anything?
Live coverage of the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup continues today on FS1. The Garden Show, weekday mornings on FS1. Saturday is Baseball Night in America on Fox. Ronald Acuna Jr. and the Braves lifted the team their dominance against Peter Lawson and the Mets. Shohei Ohtani leads the Angels against the Astros. It's Baseball Night in America, Saturday at 7 Eastern on Fox.
Cover it up. That's what I did when I started this book. Then I realized I could actually do something. Now I use Keeps, the easiest way to keep my hair. And it only costs $1 a day, which means no more covering up. Get started at Keeps.com.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
How are you?
I need this. Fee-free overdrafts. Early payday. Easy credit building. When your money's good, you feel good. Join the #1 most loved banking app. FIFA Women's World Cup Live on FS1 is presented by Verizon.
Yesterday, England reached the mid-range World Cup quarterfinals, winning on penalties over Nigeria after a scoreless draw. Chloe Kelly hammering in the winning kick. Then, your tournament co-hosts Australia dropped Denmark 2-0. Part of more than 75,000 at the Stadium of Australia in Sydney. England 4, the game winner in 29 minutes. This Australian team with an entire nation behind them. These the scenes from a watch party down south in Melbourne. And Melbourne is the site of the first two matches of this final day of the round of 16. It's a battle of teams that make plenty of headlines in the group stage. Colombia, boosted by 18-year-old sensation Linda Caicedo, they finished top